These are 20 amazing base build locations in the brand new desert region on Astraeos in ARK Survival Ascended, ranging from some beautiful coves to amazing pre-built locations to just beautiful landscapes in this desert continent. And there's actually a surprising amount of variety in different kind of regions within this desert land. And as I always say with Astraeos, you can't really pick a wrong spot on this map because this map is absolutely gorgeous. Hello there, survivors. So today we'll be taking a look at 20 of my favorite build locations here in the brand new desert on Astraeos. But if you're looking for locations elsewhere on the map, I have some other videos for the other regions too, so you can find a spot no matter where you prefer to build your base. And let me know if you'd like to see one big video with all of the amazing base build locations that Astraeos has to offer. As always, if you enjoy seeing these types of videos and you want to continue to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and let me know what kind of builds would you like to see here in the desert. And one location that definitely is a no-brainer, of course, is the brand new addition of Minas Tirith to ARK Survival Ascended. For those that have seen the Lord of the Rings movies, you'll probably recognize this right away. It's an awesome new pre-built location that's actually a massive place to turn into your base. So definitely perfect suited for a big tribe. We have this beautiful castle walls out here, different rings with bunch of different houses that you can all go into and build into, and then all the way at the top you have the cool platform with the white tree and the main keep building. So definitely a ton of space here. And even though this location should definitely be very hard to miss, it's kind of one of the first things you'll see as soon as you arrive here at the desert, of course depending on which side you arrive on, but it's also pretty close to the obelisk, as you can see. But for those few people that may not be able to find it right away, it is located right over here on the map. And as you can see, it has a beautiful entrance here that you could probably block off with a gate if you want to secure this as your own base. And then it offers an absolute ton of space in here with different pre-built houses to turn into your own. So no matter how big your tribe is, you're gonna have a good time here, turning all of these buildings, all these houses into proper homes for you and your tribe mates. You've got some beautiful greenery around here as well, beautiful different trees, colors and everything. And of course, these nice tall walls to keep you totally safe from your surroundings. You can even add some turrets, of course, on these battlements to make sure you're totally safe if you are afraid of maybe things flying in or falling in. But yeah, there is a lot here. And then there's even more room over here to the other side. Again, there's a bunch of houses here that you can turn into your different homes. Yeah, you'll definitely have no issues, no matter the size of your tribe. There's probably going to be enough space for every single one to have just their own little home. Should also be plenty of space for your tames. Then that was just the first layer. We can go all the way up here to the second layer. Again, you could easily add some gates in there if you want to secure it in between. We got more battlements there above the gate, and of course even more houses here. We can follow this up to another gate with some cool statues. This is also where you'll see the waterfall flowing down into the city, which is absolutely lovely. We got even more houses here on this layer. As I said, there is so much to offer here, so much space, so many buildings to turn into your homes. And as you can see all the way around here, there's even more buildings. You'll definitely not run out of any space. You can have so many different tribe members having their own houses. And then you can follow the stairs all the way up to the very top of the build, and that's where you get to this iconic spot. You of course also have your giant statue here. But yeah, this platform is quite big. You can do a lot here. You can even build your own transmitter here to have your own personal boss terminal right up here so that you can do your boss fight from the base. And then you have this beautiful white tree. I really hope you'll be able to keep that one around because it is absolutely beautiful as a nice little garden piece here. And then we have the main keep itself. So even more room here. This is probably where you'd want to make your main base. You've got a pretty sizable entry room here. Not a very big door, so I'm not sure what kind of tames could walk in. But there's definitely a lot of room here for like maybe your crafting and storage, etc. And then we have a big main hall that, as you can see, is very tall. So definitely enough room for breeding projects if you want to do those in the safety of the ruins. Or, of course, you can turn it into your very own throne room and, you know, rule your city from here. But as you've seen, there's even more room up the stairs here. We have even more space to kind of utilize. Not too much space. You would really think there was going to be like another room or something, but I guess not all of this is necessarily available, or it's, I guess, part of the main hall already. But yeah, there is an absolute ton of space here, especially with the entirety of the city here. So if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings especially, it's a really cool pre-built location. Definitely would make for a very nice base. A little bit further off to the border of the map, we have this nice little oasis within the desert dunes. So this is definitely more as a proper desert location, as you can see, right at the edge of the world as well. A lovely oasis, which already is a pretty nice place to maybe build some things around. And you also have this little pre-built structure that you could use to get started. It is a pretty simple one, just one major room that you have to use, and you have some stairs going up to the top so that you can even build something on top of it if you want to. But I think it's mostly just a very exciting place to start a base and build some more all around it. You've got the water access, which is really nice, of course, here in the desert. You've got those bits of greenery, which I also think is a very nice addition. And yeah, it just kind of feels like a more like typical desert location. So definitely one to keep in mind. And if you're wondering where it is located right over here at the very edge of the world, as I said. If you like the high ground and you like a good view, then this location definitely offers both. It's actually right near the coastline, so this is one of the earlier locations that you should be able to reach when you make your way over to the desert. And from on top of here, you have some pretty incredible views over Minas Tirith in the distance, over the obelisk right next to you, and the rest, of course, of the desert lands spreading out before you. But more importantly, you've got this really nice top of the cliff that you could build on. There is a decent amount of resources here. Of course, you would be blocking those, but you can see it is a relatively flat space, a decent amount of area as well, so definitely enough to build something cool up here. Then you even have this little land bridge area spreading out over to another section that you could potentially utilize as well, although a little bit more tricky to build on. And it does have a pathway leading all the way up too, so you do have a very cool and unique location here. Pretty cool looking cliff here right at the very edge, and you're very near to the spawns of the brand new creatures. So yeah, definitely a very exciting location. You've got some waterfalls flowing down from this as well. So yeah, if this looks like a spot that you might want to build at, it's located right over here. Then it's time for the first cove on the list, right off the coast, of course, of the desert lands. And this one actually has some water entrances for you to use, a medium-sized one and a little bit of a smaller one as well. But you should probably be able to block those off if you want to secure this and maybe use this inside as a little bit of a water pen instead. And then of course you also have a decently sized land area here, plenty of light still coming in as well. There is a little bit of an opening up here, so even for your flyers you could probably either build an entrance or keep this open. But yeah, you do have a decent amount of space in here with this first landing right there, but then also the ground a little bit higher up here with a decent amount of space, I would say, to build yourself a nice little base in here. Some really nice looking rock formation with these glittering rocks that Nakadas has added in these new regions. They look quite cool. And yeah, decent amount of space. Again, water available, of course, so definitely a good combination for a normal base with a water pen included. And then, of course, it's up to you whether you want to block off the sky entrance or that you think is quite convenient, that you can still fly in and out. But yeah, if you're looking for this location, this entrance over here is located right over here on the map. Now, of course, just as most of Astraeos, this landmass also has a bunch of smaller little islands dotted around the coastline, and some of these definitely can make for some really exciting bases. And this one in particular, I thought would make for a pretty cool base. You've got this long stretch of beach, a nice sandy beach, not too much going on here, but definitely a bunch of room here and nothing too dangerous. I'm pretty sure that raptors are kind of the most dangerous thing that you'll find here most of the time. But you also have this raised up area, which is definitely a cool spot for a base. Yeah, just a nice little area off the coast, so you can still have your ships, your rafts, your water teams close by, and you can enjoy the epic views here of some of the desert area. And definitely offers a bunch of space. This raised up area alone is already pretty big, and then you've got the lower section right here as well if you want to expand even further. So yeah, if you want to claim one of these islands, I mean, there's quite a few, as you can see over here on this side of the world, then yeah, definitely would recommend maybe this one. But of course, you can pick whatever one you like. But the sandy island you can find right over here on the map. It wouldn't really be an Astraeos base location video if we didn't have at least one of these temples, and there is definitely another one right over here. It's actually very, very close to Minas Tirith, close to the city, but these temples, of course, make for pretty amazing pre-built bases, because all you really need to do is get yourself a gate in the entrance and foundation of the rest of the base on the inside, and you've got a base ready to go. But this one also has a pretty nice area out in front, pretty flat, so you could definitely expand it a little bit, add some of your own additions here, and yeah, live your own Greek life here in the desert. It's a pretty nice location, some pretty nice resources nearby on these cliffs, and then of course the big city as well, which probably will have a base in it if you didn't manage to claim it yourself. But yeah, still, these temples, of course, if you're playing Astraeos, they're always a pretty good choice. And if you're wondering where this is located, you can find this one right over here. Now you have this little stretch of desert around here, and then you have this lovely cliff rising up from it. And of course, on top of this cliff would be a great place to build. You have the Wyvern Trench nearby, so you definitely want to make sure that you have some security in place before someone drags over some wyverns to your base. But yeah, you have a decent amount of space on top of here. It's not entirely flat, but definitely enough flat areas that you could get some decent builds going here, and with some pretty nice views again of your surroundings. But also, very excitingly, you have a whole cave underneath, so you could definitely use this as your own breeding area. Just close off the cave, make sure that nothing gets in and gets to your creatures. But then, as you can see, there is definitely a lot of space in here to do some proper breeding, and your tames should be totally safe. So it's kind of a nice combination of having that cave down there and having the ability to build right on top of this cliff to combine for a really nice base. So if you're wondering where you can find this spot, it is over here on the map. Another stunningly beautiful location is right next to the obelisk in the desert. You have these lovely oasis areas with the very bright blue water flowing around. You've got palm trees, etc. everywhere, and even a nice shrine right in the middle. That itself is already a pretty nice location to build with. But then right next to it, you have this cliff top off from the coast, overlooking that entire area. So maybe you want to keep that intact, keep all the greenery and stuff around you. You can have a nice base on top of this cliff, overlooking this lovely greenery. You can also still see the Minas Tirith city over there, and of course plenty of the desert, as well as of the volcano island up north. But not only that, we actually also have a really cool location right underneath it. You've got these blue pools with these nice glowy blue plants, and this is also one of the possible spawn locations for the new creature that actually can be found walking around these beaches quite often. And there's actually a whole cave area or cove area here that is pretty nice too, that you could use either as part of your base, maybe turn it into some kind of breeding area, because it is a little bit easier, of course, to close off this. But it's also just a very beautiful looking location, because I really like these little water ponds that are everywhere here. And yeah, definitely just a really cool looking location with the cove, the cliff on top, and then the oasis right next door. So if you want to build over here, you can find it right over there on the map. Another really cool and unique biome out here on the desert island is the fact that we have these dry grasslands. I don't know what it is about this location. I just really like the atmosphere and the vibe over here, and there's definitely a few spots that could make for some really cool base locations. One of them being this big plateau that is kind of right in the middle of this biome, so you have a lot of space around you. It's still relatively close to the coast as well, but most importantly, it is just a really big and rather flat area, which makes it perfect to do some base building on, of course. And there is only a few ways to really get onto it. You've got this ramp leading onto the platform. Of course, there is some spawns on top of it, so you would have to block those. But other than that, there's only really the other side where you can get onto it. So it should be a relatively safe area as soon as you start building here, with some really cool views of your surroundings, with the canyons, etc. around you, the desert on the other side. Just makes for a really nice location, which you can find right over here. I think one of my favorite parts of this whole desert area is these new canyons. I don't know, the color grading on them, the textures of them just looks very, very nice with those oranges and those browns. And there's actually some really cool locations to build at as well. For example, you have this waterfall coming down from the canyons, and then we get into this greenery bit before it meets back down into the river delta below. And this actually would make for a really cool base location, especially if you like a good waterfall. You have a pretty sizable plateau here with a bunch of greenery, which is always nice in the desert, you know, cheer it up a little bit. And you've got some pretty nice views. You're like halfway up the canyon, so there's still plenty more up there. You've got like the Hotsprings area over there, the Wyvern Trench close by, the whole river delta here before you go back into the deserts in the distance. But most importantly, you have a bunch of space up here where you definitely should be able to build some really cool builds. You've got plenty of water here, so you don't have to worry about any of that. And yeah, you can build to your heart's content with some nice greenery, so it doesn't feel too sandy, as much of the desert, of course, will always do. So it's a very nice and peaceful looking place. So yeah, if this looks like something you are interested in, you can find it right over here. And not only do these canyons look amazing, of course, they also offer some amazing locations to build on. There's actually many pathways to follow up to all the way at the top of some of these cliffs, which of course means that you get some great views of pretty much the entire desert area, since this is a very high up location. And this one in particular I quite like. You've got the path coming all the way up, and then here at the very end we've got this kind of plateau that would be pretty good for a nice big base build, with again some amazing views. You even have this extra ramp leading off to this smaller platform that would actually be really cool to make some kind of like watchtower or something up there just to really utilize this area to the fullest. So yeah, definitely a fun location, a good location if you like these canyons as much as I do. And yeah, if you want to build here, you can find it right over here. But maybe you're more looking for a cave location. Now this one is actually really cool. As you can see, it's quite hard to spot. It is near the Salt Flats and the Wyvern Trench, almost at the top of the canyon, and there's actually this little opening here. Now this rock here you can actually harvest, so you can make the entrance a little bit bigger, but by default it is quite narrow to find. So if you're looking for this exact location to know where to enter this cave, you can find it right over here. And as I said, you can harvest that rock if you want to make the entrance a bit bigger. But then we have this little hallway until we get to the actual cave itself. And you can see the beauty here. I love the way that this looks. Don't worry, the light coming in is a natural light source, but there's actually no opening at the top, so you can't go in and out. So it is a pretty nicely secured location. But yeah, just getting that light in here means that you can kind of have a natural feeling location. There is a few cave spawns here that you might want to block, but you do have a decent amount of space here going all the way up to the back here. So you could definitely have like a little build there, a little build here in the middle in the full sunshine, and of course you've got the whole hallway in the front. But you also have your very own water source with actually a pretty deep little water area here. So yeah, I think you can definitely have some bigger tames in here for your breeding projects without any issues. So yeah, if you like a good cave build location and a cave base, then this one might definitely be a very good option. And another really cool and unique area that was added with this desert update are these giant salt flats in the canyon area. And I actually think this is a really cool looking location. You've got the big flat salt flats that have a few different plateaus actually for you to explore and to kind of well, appreciate. But of course, as builders, this is prime real estate for some cool builds. Where you want to maybe integrate the salt flats into your design, you know, maybe making some kind of facility that it looks like you're harvesting the salt here or something. Or you just want to utilize the absolutely abundance of flat space everywhere, then this is a really good opportunity. You've got 3 different layers here, so you have a few options to choose from what you want to work with. But yeah, as you can see, definitely plenty of space here for some big builds without having to worry if you're going to be able to get all the foundations down, because these spaces are super flat, super easy to build on. So definitely you have a lot of opportunities here. Whether you want to build your own mega city out here in the desert, your mining operation, or whatever else you can come up with, there is a lot of flat space available for you to locate. You have the beautiful canyons here, obelisk right next to you. You have the desert over there as well, and the Wyvern Trench right next door. So yeah, if you want to live here and you want to build on these nice salt flats, you can find them right over here on the map. And I really wasn't kidding when I said that this desert offers a bunch of variety in landscapes. We have the normal desert, we have the green deltas, we have the canyons, the dead grasslands, and we also have these hot springs, which is another really cool and unique location. There's all of these little water pools absolutely everywhere. You've got geysers shooting up, steam everywhere. So it's definitely a very cool and unique looking area that could be a really cool location to build on. If you want to make your own little paradise within the hot springs, there is some cool locations, some flat locations that you could totally use and build on. And especially this water feature at the very end is a really nice and unique looking location that could be great for your own little spa retreat out here in the desert, or whatever you want to build here. And there's actually some decently flat land right here on the edge if you want to do a little build here. I think you could definitely do some really cool things by using the environment here to your own benefit. And yeah, if you want to live over here in the hot springs or in these cool waterfall areas, you can find them right over here at the very edge of the map. Maybe you do want to live in this desert area, but you still like your greenery. There's actually a huge river delta that offers a lot of different build locations for you if you still want to embrace a little bit of that greenery in your life whilst living in the desert and making sure you keep that water close at hand. As you can see, this kind of starts right next to the Wyvern Trench, these rivers, and they float down all the way back to the ocean. And of course, there's plenty of cool locations here. For example, you have it's kind of raised a bit, which is definitely a nice place for a base. So yeah, if you want to build here, you can build. So it's right over here on the map, but there's definitely a few others as well. Maybe you want to build on top of this waterfall. There's actually a little bit of flat area right next to that too, so you could totally build right up here if you'd want to. And then if you keep following the river, there is plenty of more opportunities for some nice build location. I especially like these raised up bits because it feels a little bit more safe, more easy to make secure. This one is right over here. Yeah, it just has a nice roomy area, which is a little bit raised up from the default landscape. But as you can see, there's some absolutely lovely looking areas in this whole river delta that slowly follows this river all the way down into the ocean. It kind of changes the look a little bit around here. This is where you have more of those canyony areas again, like these little hidden bits that are kind of hidden under the land, which could make for some cool locations. There's a few caves in here if you wanted to build in that. But yeah, I definitely think this greenery is talking to me a little bit more, and I think there's some absolutely lovely build locations all over this river delta. If you like a good cove location to build in, maybe because you want to have that water and land base combined in one place, there's definitely a bunch of good options here in the desert areas of Astraeos, and this one in particular offers you a very big cove with your own cool statue right at the entrance and a way out into sea. So yeah, you can take your water tames in here, and as you can see, a rather big pool in here. You would have to do a little bit of work, but there is this ledge where you could still build on, so it is still easily doable to close this all off and make sure that this is all secured. And you can see there's also a little bit of a land entrance, so you can walk in your land tames too, which will end up right over here along this ledge. You can see there's a decent amount of space there, not too much, but enough to get something going. But then if you follow this other pathway up, of course, you might want to clear out a few of the rocks to make it a little bit easier. You get to the top part of this cove where you can look out over that water area once again, and especially once you clear out all of the rocks up here, you should have a decent amount of space to build your main base at. And yeah, that makes for a really cool location. I do really like the crystals and the light here in this cove. So yeah, there's definitely a bunch of opportunities here, and of course, very important as well, you have a pretty big area here underwater for all of your water tames, your water breeding that you can do in peace when you choose this cove. And yeah, if you want to go for this location, it is located right over here on the map. With this island, you're not only well situated to go and explore the desert, you still have water access, so you can bring up your water tames here to the island, but you might also be in the perfect location to enjoy the next update of Astraeos when that arrives to finish the map 100%. This island itself offers a bunch of space. You've got some nice flat ground here at the lower area that you could definitely build a pretty sizable base on, but then you also have a slightly higher area here. Maybe if you want to have a two-tiered building, or you just want to have your base raised up a little bit, you have another decent amount of space here, flat area as well, so it should be pretty easy to do some nice base building here. And as you can see in the distance, the next island that currently is not in the map yet, but we will be able to explore that sometime probably later this year, is looking quite cool from here, and you will be very close by when we finally do get that update. So, you know, a bit of future proofing as well. But yeah, if you want to live on an island like this, you can find it over here on the map. Then in this part of the desert, we have again a lot of sandy dunes, and I don't know if you want to build anywhere in there because of all the dangers there. You've got the death worms, new scorpions, etc. But there is also some nice cliffs high up if you want some more safety and enjoy some really nice views, including this one. Again, there's many pathways leading up to this one. I especially like this one because it has this kind of land bridge that you could use as a natural entrance to your base. But then up here, you've got a decent amount of space here. It's not entirely flat, but still enough space to do some base building on. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there we go. There is a water source here too, so you are good for water if you want to do some really cool building. And as you can see, we've got some pretty epic views here of these surrounding desert landscapes. So yeah, definitely a very nice location to build on, I would say. If you want to find it, you can find it right over here. But yeah, there is also another cliff right next to it, which you could definitely also use as a base location. But I just thought that this looks a little bit nicer, and especially having that water source nearby, just a little bit more space here, makes this one stand out just that little bit more. Then there's another cave location right over here in the side of these cliffs, guarded by these two statues and a nice entrance, which also means it's very easy to make this safe, because all you really need to do is make sure that you add your own gate here, and then you are well protected, and you've got these really cool statues to guard you too. Inside is nothing too special. It is definitely one of the more boring looking caves by itself, but it does offer a decent amount of space, so you can definitely build a nice home in here. There's no glowy crystals, there's no natural light in here though, so you'll have to bring all that yourself, you know, do most of the heavy lifting yourself with your build. But a decent amount of space in here, and yeah, if you want to just have a nice, easy, secure location, definitely one to consider. And if you're wondering where you can find this, you can find the entrance right over here on the map. And then finally, there's this other big cliff here in the desert on this side, all the way in the corner of the map, with this giant cliff all the way overlooking the rest. And this desert overlook actually offers you a pretty cool base location. Again, there's a wandering pathway all the way up to the top here to get to the top of this cliff, which is quite cool. You've got this passageway in between. This is probably where I would wall it off to kind of secure it. And then you have an absolutely massive area up here to utilize for your base. It's not entirely flat, but definitely should be able to work with this. You've got some really nice locations like this sticking out where you can get some amazing views of your surroundings. There's plenty of resources nearby as well. And once again, there is your water source up here. So you don't have to worry about your water. You don't have to wait for the rain or something. You do have a nice water source and plenty of space to build out a giant castle or a desert city or whatever you want all the way here and overlook the rest of the desert. So yeah, if you want to build over here, it is pretty hard to miss this spot. But yeah, just in case, you can find it right over there on the map. And there we go. Those are 20 amazing build locations here on Astraeos in the desert area. And as I said, if you're looking for build location in the rest of Astraeos, check out the other videos that are already made, but also let me know if you'd like to see one video covering all of the amazing spots that you can find on this map. But yeah, it is pretty hard to go wrong here on Astraeos. The map is absolutely gorgeous, and this new desert expansion is definitely no exception. It is absolutely amazing. He definitely did it again. The Cardus is outdoing himself, and this is his first desert, but it looks absolutely perfect. As always, if you enjoy seeing these types of videos and you want to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and let me know in which location and which builds you'd like to see me build next down in the comments. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video or the next stream. For now, goodbye.